In the harmony of the Gospels, we have now worked our way up to the parable of the mustard seed. And at this point, I am going to pick up where we left off there. First of all, reading from Mark 4, verses 30 to 32. And he said, "How shall we liken the kingdom of God? Or in what parable shall we set it forth? It is like a grain of mustard seed, which when it is sown upon the earth, though it be less than all the seeds that are upon the earth, yet when it is sown, it grows up and becomes greater than all the herbs, and puts forth great branches, so that the birds of the heaven can lodge under the shadow thereof." I think what we're looking at here is starting small, it's going to expand. And that basically what Mark is sharing in this parable is that the kingdom of God will start small. You had a few disciples, and it will expand like a grain of mustard seed planted in the ground, and it will become, as it expands, like a great tree which has branches, and even the birds of the heavens can lodge under its shadows. So, this is the first emphasis on from smallness to bigness. And we've seen that as we look at the history of the church and what has happened. Starting with a few, it has grown to where we are today. I'd like now to read Matthew 13, verses 35 or 33 to 35. And I'm reading it actually in the Greek and doing some grammar analysis. Alein parabalein paretheken autois legon. That is another parable. He placed to them, saying, Chamoia estin he basilea ton uranon, kako synapeos. The kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed. Han labon anthropas esperen ento agro auto, which a man taking sowed in his field. Let me just say a word about the grammar. Another parable, paretheken, is from paratithemi. It is the aorist indicative active, third person singular. Placed to them, saying, legon is just your present active participle, nominative masculine singular from lego. The kingdom of heaven, hamoia, is like to a grain of mustard seed, kako sunapaos, which, kan, is a relative pronoun, accusative, masculine singular, which when a man took, labon is from lambano, it's the aorist participle, nominative masculine singular from lambano, which a man took, sowed in his field. Notice esperen is from spero. It is the aorist indicative active, third person singular. So he sowed this little grain of mustard seed in his field. Ha mikrateran men esten panton ton spermaton. Ha tende auxethe metsan ton laganon esten kai genetai dendron hosta elthein ta patena tu uranu kai kataskenun in tois sladois autu. And that would read, which it is the smallest of all the seeds when it is grown. When it basically has grown or is grown, it is greater than all of the herbs or shrubs, and it becomes a tree, so that the birds of the heaven, hosta eothein ta patena, the birds of the heaven come and to dwell, skat kata skenun, in its branches. Let me just talk a little bit about the thought here, make nest in its branches. Notice which is the smallest. Mekrateron is a comparative adjective, which is the smallest. Ha is a relative pronoun, going back to talking about the seed, the mustard seed, which is the smallest of all the seeds. When it is increased. Notice here, but when it has grown. The verb here, auxino, is an aorist subjunctive third person singular with that theta eta. When it is grown, when it be grown or increased, it is the greatest. It is the greatest or the greatest of the herbs and becomes a tree. Again, from smallness to largeness. So, hosta eothein, so to come, with reference to the birds. Hosta is showing a result clause, so that eothein is the aorist active infinitive from erkomai, so that to come, with reference to the birds. So we would translate it. So it's accusative of general reference in ta patena, so that the birds come, the birds of the heavens, and to dwell. Notice here, to dwell or to make a nest in its branches. Kata skenao is the root, another basically infinitive, present infinitive from kata skenao, so that to make nests in its branches. So the basic teaching of this parable, and I want to look at the Greek a little bit here, is you take the smallest little seed and it goes from that size to become this massive tree, so that the birds of the heaven dwell in its branches or on its branches. The church grew from a few, 12, and became a huge tree, so to speak. And that's the imagery from smallness to largeness that Jesus is setting forth. And certainly that is what has happened. Starting with a few disciples, it has multiplied to where the church is worldwide today.